What's up, everyone? Tyler and Greer here for another edition of the No Cast Space post game show. It's been a long day for No Cast Space. We've been working for y'all today. I promise you, there's some stuff coming that you're gonna like, but it's been a long day. But we still got games to talk about. We have some big time performances to talk about. There were several today that very much stood out, and we got All Star to talk about. I have thoughts, I have opinions, but we're gonna say that for the end. We're gonna get through these games, and then we're gonna talk some All-Star. Timothy Williams, what's up, my man? Bruce, what's up? What's up, y'all? Okay, a little welcome.
I love it. I love it.
What's up, everyone? Oh my goodness.
Yes. I know it's still kind of like early enough. People got energy tonight.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? Man, see, now I'm ready. Let's get into it. First off, Kelsey. We're going bucket for bucket. Kelsey Plum pulled away a little bit towards the end, but they were going back and forth for a little bit there. Kelsey Plum, this is, her season high. Probably, off the top of my head, pretty clearly her best game of the season. Welcome back to the Aces. They're now 5-0 since Chelsea Gray has come back. I think the general consensus was like, okay, yeah, let's wait till she comes back, but we're not sure if she's going to fix everything. And, there's still some similar struggles, but, on the defensive end. But ultimately, and surprisingly, very surprisingly, apparently the Aces are better with Chelsea Gray in the lineup.
Dunk it.
Yeah, what a thought process. And I'm glad there was definitely nobody overreacting at the beginning of the season. Definitely nobody at all. But for you, with Kelsey, we'll start with Plum, and we can kind of dive into the Fever performance overall and Kelsey Mitchell. But for you with Plum, was there anything that kind of stood out differently today? Was it just hitting shots? What are you feeling?
When Kelsey's hitting shots, it definitely makes up for a lot of her shortcomings on the other side of the ball, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously she had a phenomenal game. But again, these are two players when they left college, even though it was a long time ago, they just get buckets. This is what they do.
Yeah.
Okay? We saw right in this game again 3 of the top 5 scorers ever in the women's,
which is crazy. That's crazy.
Getting buckets is literally, it's just what they do.
Yeah.
You can't rely on them for anything else. It's to get buckets. And then Kelsey Mitchell, just good to see her coming on. Obviously, she too joined her team a little bit later in the season, right? Mm-hmm. Wasn't starting immediately. Obviously, got back into the starting lineup, and with all of the new pieces that they've got, especially the super young star power that they've got, I feel like she's really settled into a really nice groove for the Fever, and bucket for bucket, Kelsey for Kelsey. They are professional bucket getters, period.
Yeah. No, listen, to your point, we know this. This is what they do. This is what they are here to do.
And lefties.
To be that's a good point. I didn't even realize I would have put that in the damn upper graphic, man. But yeah, obviously, this is what they've been doing. This is what they will. They are your kind of microwave scorers, and they are very much the same kind of archetype of player. And to your point, Kelsey Mitchell, it feels like, and I don't know if this is an exact thing, it's purposeful in the way they're doing it, but I feel like she's having to make less, she's on the ball less, and because of that, she's having to make less decisions, and those decisions are usually just what shot am I taking, as opposed to I'm dribbling a lot and so it feels like there's this kind of a more linear focus for what she's being asked to do for this team right now. And when you have Kelsey on a linear path and you're, like you said, doing what she's known to do, it feels like it just works better with this team. And I think last time we were on, we were talking with Shawnee about growing into the veteran player that this team, and learning how to play winning basketball. And obviously they don't win tonight, but it continuously feels, and obviously 9 for 20 isn't the greatest split or anything, but it was just kind of a rough offensive day for the Fever kind of across the board. But yeah, I as someone that has had my frustrations with Kelsey Mitchell, I am increasingly getting on board with her, kind of being a piece in the longer term of the Fever. If this is kind of the role that she's taking, and it's working so far. Like I said, 23 points, and it just feels less forced than it had ever kind of felt before. But yeah, overall, she was definitely Aliyah Boston also has a solid game, 18 points and 11 rebounds. But for the Fever, Kelsey was definitely the one that was kind of the one that was really playing the most winning basketball today. And also, I think the biggest kind of point when it comes to the Fever today was Christy Wallace was in the starting lineup, which is something that I know a lot of people have been wanting for a while now, and I was happy to see it. But yeah, just general thoughts for you, just on the Fever tonight, and obviously Caitlin is far from her best game, which is still 13 points, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds, but not the best shooting game for her. 4-12, 1 for 7 from 3, namely. But for the Fever, what were you kind of taking away from this one?
I mean, again, they're playing the defending champs, right? Always looking for Caitlin to be more aggressive for, always. Right. But, coming off the game that they played a couple days ago where, it seemed like she couldn't really finish the game. And then we later found out that she'd been dealing with a migraine. Like you wonder if some of those same kind of things were plaguing her tonight.
Yeah.
But I also just have to give a ton of credit to Jackie Young, right? And who game after game exhibits why she's one of the best guards in the world.
Mm.
And a player that seems to relish the opportunity to guard a player like Caitlin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And show why she too was the number one pick in
right.
this league. So, it's always, I feel like, for Caitlin, it's always going to be a mix, right? You're going to be getting the best like perimeter defender pretty much of every team. But then also, like that's not an excuse to like lay off the gas. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But get more practice time, get back feeling good too, right? Like the All-Star break, this team really needs it badly, given the way that they started the season and the way their schedule was and stuff like that. And I mean, the Aces just took care of business. They're on a 5-game win streak, and I don't, you would have made a lot of money tonight if you thought Indiana was going to win,
Yeah. I mean, that was, like you said, that's, I think we're also like, it's to the point where, not to the point, but obviously like we kind of know what the expectation are of the Fever is at this point. I think most of us knew going into the season what to expect. Obviously a lot of the hype that Caitlin brought in probably lifted a lot of those expectations, and the floor and ceiling got shifted a little too much at times. But I know I was frustrated at times. Caitlin ends with 6 turnovers, so not the best, but not her worst either.
I mean, right around her season.
That's kind of what we've come to expect from her. And there were several just like frustrating drop passes, which is or missed shots, like easy ones, gimmies, which is something that we've been seeing this team kind of plagued by this entire season. So nothing new on that. I don't feel like we really learned anything new about the Fever today. I think this is, like I said, I think the highlight is Kelsey Mitchell continuing to kind of find that role. But outside of that, not any kind of major takeaways for me on them. But when you mentioned the Aces handling business, and talking about handling business, it's Asia Wilson. This is what was she that one. I stood up out of my seat when she took the ball down the court, ripped through, and hit the crossover. Not even ripped through. It was a full on
the low dribble.
Yes, on the perimeter at the 3-point line, and then gets the and-1. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do? What can she do? You know what I mean? Like it is genuinely insane. Like there's when the day-to-day basis, she's the best player in the world. Like there's no other way around it. Like it's kind of hard to even like find new ways to explain what we're seeing from her, even though she's continuing to grow. It's just like it's automatic. It's very rare. Like she had one off game recently. And that was the first genuinely off game I can remember her having. Like, no other ones come to mind. Like, this is just like what she does now.
And the consistency with which she plays for this Vegas team. There's a lot of superstars in this league. A lot of superstars don't consistently show up for their teams night after night after night, right? So that is commendable. The pressure she's putting on defenses just by expanding her transition game, right? And the willingness to take it off the rebound, bring it up the court, and initiate for herself. And initiate for others. Yeah, it's a freight. She's a freight train, it's very much given what can't she do kind of at this point. We've seen her hit the 3 this year. We see her making a concerted effort to initiate offense and initiate the break. Money in the mid-range, face-up game, immaculate. 5 blocks tonight. The only thing she didn't do is probably just have double-digit rebounds tonight.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Big Kia was down there taking all. She got 12. You know? Come on now.
You know?
But yeah, it's to your like it's. Well, I mean, it's we the expectation now of Asia is so high. Like she's the clear. Like there's no. I'm glad we have a Rookie of the Year race because the MVP race ain't happening. Like it's clear. Like it would take some monster shift at this point for anything to be like anything to change at all.
Result,
yeah. So like I said, the Aces look increasingly like the Aces that we know. They look like a team that has the capabilities to be a dynasty and can go and win this. So yeah, I guess no kind of major takeaways for me from this game. Like I said, I think the Aces handled business. The Fever had similar problems that we're used to. Kelsey Mitchell did her thing. Like those are kind of like the 3 bullet points for me. But you did mention superstars that don't always show up. Kind of a nasty segue, but the New York Liberty got their lick back today on the Minnesota Lynx after the Commissioner Cup game. Jonquel Jones, like it's crazy what happens when she's just engaged and do like 13 shots. That feels like the minimum that we should be seeing from Jonquel, and that's just not always the case. And today she was hooping. Stewie puts up 17 and 17 in like the nastiest 17 and 17 game that I've seen. Like 5 of 20 is wicked, to be honest. But 17 and 17 kind of speaks for itself in that own right. That's part of what makes a player like Stewie so well is that she can have an off night, and that off night is 17 and 17. And yeah, like that's wicked. But any thoughts from this game and kind of what we saw from the Liberty today?
Yeah, I mean, Jonquel in the previous 2 games against the Minnesota Lynx like had single digit points, like I mean, just was a non-factor in both, a non-factor in a positive way, right? Like she was a negative factor for them in the 2 games previously against the Lynx this season. So good to see her like take advantage of the matchup because New York is a much bigger team than the Minnesota Lynx. And then also, I mean, Sabrina thugged it out tonight. She's not on this graphic, but she thugged it out and played decently.
Yeah, and the 17 on 7. It was a rough night from 3 for her. It was 1 for 10 from 3. So that's where the thugging out came in. But she does end with 17 on 7 of 20 tonight.
Yeah. JJ, look, like, how much do you want it? Like, post game, she says some things like, Minnesota's had our number. This, I think maybe she was quoted saying like this was a get back game for them. I struggle with those, like that characterization, because like that is not what the New York Liberty like should be about. Like it's not about like these little like individual matchups and stuff. Like you guys are trying to win a championship. And to do that, you need to be building good and consistent habits, right? And so far this season, Jonquel, when it comes to consistency, she's kind of been all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So, like this team, again, Stewie can have 17 off night. Sabrina is still putting pressure on defenses because she can take 10 threes a night. Obviously, her game off the dribble now has like
taking next step for sure. Yeah,
really improved. So like JJ, like that is the missing piece, right? Like to know that every night you can go out and do this. Yeah,
no, 100%. Like, and this is, I mean, it's frankly kind of just been the story of the Liberty since this team has formed. Like last season is like just finding how can you get everybody on, like on a given night, and always it's hard at times I think to find the shots, but I think that if you look at like Stewie and Sabrina both take 20 shots tonight, and Jonquel is still able to do this, and perform at this high of a clip. And obviously, like it's different. Like with a team like this, different nights are going to call different names in when it comes to who's hot and who's producing in that way. But there's no reason that Jonquel should have single digit points ever. Period. Like there's no and that like that when I know we've talked about it so much in the sense of how can the Liberty play championship caliber basketball? It starts with these two, and I trust Stewie to step up to the plate when it's time. Like I'm not as worried about that. Jonquel, it's about that. I need to kind of see the consistency to actively trust that because this Jonquel and like MVP Jonquel, that's a championship for the New York Liberty. Like that is like the elevation that you see when this type when she's playing like this as this type of player. So that's what I want to see is a consistency. I know something we talked about. I forget the exact stat on this, but the Lynx scored I think 6 points in the fourth quarter and went like 7 minutes scoreless within the quarter.
Probably.
Like maybe
maybe closer to 8, honestly, without scoring.
Wicked, nasty.
Yeah, like again on defense, pretty good game. Holds Serena 1 of 10 from 3. Stewie finishes 5 of 20. So the defense for the Minnesota Lynx is like not the issue, right? I think New York Liberty are held under 80 points, right? Which is like
76. Yeah, hey, you take that any night.
Any night.
The
offense, a lot of coming into tonight, they were the league leading in led the league in assists per game as a team. I know at one point during the first half, like they were sharing the ball fairly well. So shout out to New York's defense for like managing to disrupt some of what they wanted to do on offense, right? The Minnesota Lynx offense is like very simple, right? They're not gonna like reinvent the wheel on offense, but New York was able to muck it up enough to escape with the W tonight. But that is why like Diamond Miller barely played tonight. They've got to get some more creativity on offense.
Yeah, that is exactly the word that came to mind.
It's good to be like steady and of course defense is what wins championships. But you also need people who can go get you a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like Courtney's gonna pull up for a long two. We know that.
If she don't do nothing else, she's gonna take that long too.
Nafisa really is the only player on their roster who puts consistent pressure on offenses in a facet in a multifaceted way, right? She scores from all levels. Kayla, while she's hitting the 3 at a like insane clip right now, her diet of shots is mostly coming from 3. It's very predictable. And that's like where you're going to run into trouble against the teams who can play a variety of styles.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like I said, I think the aspect of creativity feels massive because it does. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of like, and maybe Diamond is the answer for that. Because right now it feels like you have very limited flexibility on this roster. Like, obviously the roster I think has overperformed our expectations for what they've done early on. But now it feels like we're getting to the point where not that teams have them figured out, but like I can't, like if I'm getting into a playoff series with this Lynx team, if you can crack the code, I don't know how they switch that, how they change the code on you. And you've seen nights like tonight, you're starting to kind of get the answer to the test early. And that's where my kind of worry is. So to your point, maybe it's Diamond, like just to kind of have a little bit more burst, a little bit more creativity, like just more energy. Like I don't know what the exact formula that they're needing right now, and I don't know, frankly, if they have it on the roster. Like just with the makeup of this roster. So maybe the expectations of the team come back down. Not like maybe like I said, I think no, not like I said, not as low as like a lot of, like the general consensus was, but not as high as where they had started at. So it'd be kind of interesting to see where that bounces out. I see Joe in the chat talking about Alyssa Peely. Hey, I'm a believer. But like I said, I don't really know if they have the answer on that team. So that's gonna be kind of interesting to monitor to see if they can switch it up or if they if he can just kind of continue to will them into different wins. And I mean, she had a solid game tonight but only ends with 15. Like she had 15 and 10 and 6 assists. So like a very good game, but like in the sense of if
and
this is like your ride or die.
Well in the first
yeah, 7 to 13 overall. Like
so she didn't. She started 7 of 9, so she missed her last 4 shots. But 13 shots, obviously not enough either for a player of her caliber. And credit to New York for making it difficult. But the whole offense was just stinky the entire fourth quarter. So back to the drawing board they go, right? Like I think they've got Connecticut in their next matchup, and then they're playing a couple of bad teams, or bad on paper teams. But again, in this league,
they got Connecticut next, and then Washington, LA, Seattle, Indiana, Atlanta. So and then Mystics back to back after that. So like they'll have a couple games where like if you want to maybe test some things out, like these
for sure. These will be the games. You also want to be, you want to beat the bad teams, which they had issues doing against Dallas, right? After the Commissioner's Cup. So you also don't want to get into like a false sense of security.
For sure.
They're I think coming in tonight were what were they for? Third?
Yes,
third coming into the standings tonight. So that I'm sure that's where they want to stay and they want to get higher, but you got to win the games. Like no one's going to let down,
Yeah, it's we got situations to monitor here. Like we're to the point we're in the trenches of the season now. Like obviously All-Star break is going to be very nice for a lot of teams, but like we kind of have a general idea of what these teams are at this point. And like I said, especially in the W, like where there's not really trades, like there's not a lot of cap flexibility. There's not a lot of change in identity or kind of grand scheme, like makeup of a roster in the W. So like what we're seeing is more likely what we're getting. So it'll be interesting to see if Minnesota can kind of figure that out. One team that I don't like what I'm seeing at all from what I'm getting is the Atlanta Dream. Not good. Not good. But the highlight, I think 2 players. But first, we got to talk about Angel Reese. Career high in rebounds tonight with 19, 11th straight double-double. Named to an all-star team, which we're going to get into after we talk about this game. Like, I mean, it's the same. Like, the motor that she has is...
I don't know when this,
that's what my question was going to be. Like, when is this supposed to end? Because right now, who's gonna stop her? Like, because at this point, I don't know. Because it like the rebounds, it feels like it's just gonna have to just be like a night where she doesn't get 10 points. Because the rebounds just feel undeniable. Yeah. Like it is. She's not scraping by these double doubles on the boards. She is clearing the way with these rebounds. Like it is genuinely incredibly impressive. The rebounding ability that she just came in with. And like obviously this is what she was known for in college, but we've seen great rebounders come in college, make their way to the W and not do anything. Like this is, I mean, like I can't overstate it. Like this is WNBA history, not rookie history, all the great bigs never done this.
Yes. I mean, yeah, rookie, second, wherever you are in your career, amazing feat what Angel's accomplishing right now. We're talking about how long will this streak last. So I got an idea because I bet the opponent in their next 2 games, there's going to be one particular player on that team who's a little bit pissed off that she's not an all-star this year. And she might take this matchup very personally over the next couple of games for the Chicago Sky. So,
we're going to get into that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But regardless, like her name is the only one in the record books right now when it comes to consecutive double-doubles in WNBA history. And if I don't even know if Angel thought that she would be doing this. It's dope to prove the haters wrong, prove yourself right. But I don't even know if she saw this for herself.
Right.
Coming into her rookie season. So, shout out to the Chicago staff for putting her in situations where she can succeed. but her teammates for putting her in situations where she can succeed. The fit is immaculate right now, and for a team that they've lost a lot of stars in their existence. It feels like the marriage so far is off to a great start.
Yeah. I like that you brought
nice for real.
Yeah, no, literally. And I'm glad you brought up the staff here because the other player I want to highlight from this game mentioned that in post game, Kennedy Carter, the revenge game against Atlanta, mentioned that she feels comfortable in Chicago and that comfortability. And like, I really think like the ability to play freely and to just be herself in both like personality and play style and like just across the board. Like this is Kennedy Carter. And it's her at her best. 11-16, 26 points. Like, hooping.
Another player who had an incredibly compelling case to be an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what the voters, both fans, media, and coach, I need to see how it all shook out, but I don't understand how she's not headed to Phoenix right now to represent Chicago Sky.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. Let's talk about the WNBA All-Star list that was revealed. Here is the All-Star team here. I mean, I guess let's talk about first off. I want to highlight this because the voting this year compared to last year, crazy. So just an example. So the top three from last year: 95,000 for Asia, 87 for Dewey, 72 for BG.
10x, bro.
This year, Caitlin Clark leads it with 700,000. Aliyah Boston comes in second with 618K. Asia comes in third with 607. Business is booming. Business is booming, y'all. So I just want to highlight that because like that's massive. Like that is an incredible difference. And like
only 2 weeks of voting, right? Like the window it's not like people are voting for a month. Like this is in 2 weeks, almost a million people casted a ballot for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, like that is nuts. And like even like as you continue going down, like there's not some crazy drop off or anything. Like the list like continues with the fan votes to that kind of caliber, that boost that we're seeing this year. So just generally dope that is happening. But I wanted to bring the fan vote up because Caitlin and Angel are both rookies, both all-stars, and both completely deserve it. Right. Like these are you could have a whole genuine all-star game this year. These are two of the best players in the league. Like they are having two of the best seasons in the league. Like there's no planet where these two are not all-stars together. And I can't wait to see them on the same team. Like I 4 verts from Caitlin to Angel is gonna look like prime Tom Brady to Randy Moss. Like I need Angel Moss in Team USA. Like I need her going for 700 receiving yards. Like I'm very excited. Like that is obviously like the combo I'm excited for the most. I'm also very excited for Alyssa Thomas versus DeWanna Bonner. I think that's just funny to me. That's just generally funny because they're both so competitive that I'm very excited to see if they get into it at all. Like I just think that'd be funny. But for you, any names that stand out, good or bad, on this list, and then we can get into who was left off. But just we'll stick with the list for now, and then we'll get into who was left off.
I mean, I just in my heart of hearts, I do not feel like, given where the voting window like open and closed, I don't think any players on the Wings and Dream should have made it. I'm sorry. Like these are two teams that went on extended losing streaks during the open voting for All-Star, and I get it. Enrique is even a previous MVP in the All-Star game. And I know it's not all about team success, but like your teams stink.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked.
And you guys are not rookies. You guys are established players in this league, right? So that is where I like quibble because obviously Enrique is a guard, and so we can get into who I think should have taking that spot. And then Alicia Gray, I'm unsure if I can't remember because was she a guard or a
Oh, that's a good question. I don't. If y'all in the chat know what she was listed at, let us know. Also, for y'all, put your snubs and who you replace in the chat too. I'm interested in seeing what y'all think. But yeah, continue. Like I'm with you. Like there's several names on this list that.
And I think listen, like Aliyah Boston, I understand that she was the second, or she got the second most votes.
Yep, second.
Right.
Yep.
So like I get fans want to see her. She was not on my ballot, although she's come on a lot stronger in the last couple of weeks. But when I just think about front court players this year who,
let's get into it.
Yes, who came out just firing on all cylinders.
Yes.
Ezzy Maglore.
Come on, man. What are we doing here?
It's a travesty. We're talking about a player who, outside of Asia Wilson, is the only other player in the discussion right now, truly for Defensive Player of the Year, has made an incredible leap on the offensive end, is playing on a contender, and is a big part of the reason why they're having the success that they're having, right?
Yeah.
A player who was an all-star a season ago when the team was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Much improved now. And she just should have been an all-star and not an alternate, not a replacement player.
It was a no-brainer to me. Like this was like when had you had me name my all-star team, Ezzy would have been at the very just top of my mind of duh. Like what how I genuine shock to me that she was not. I think she's taking just in averages a slight dip in points, but the eye test and what she's doing, and then obviously you factor in the added talent to this team. You can tell that she's gotten better on the offensive end. She's averaging a career high in rebounds. The defense is the defense. We know what she's bringing on that end. There is zero excuse that she is not on this team. There none. Bree Jones could have been over her. Aliyah Boston could have been over her. There's no way. There's no way.
A very, even keeled coach. I need her to get in the presser cussing people out.
Yeah.
Whether that be your colleagues, the media, fan, again, maybe it's a West Coast thing. They play late at night oftentimes because they're on the West Coast or something. So maybe people aren't watching what she's doing for this team. But you need to tune in, folks. Again, the last time we went live, or second to last time we went live, you had a very hot take about Ezzy.
Yes.
And
they're hurting her resume. Yeah. We're building a Mount Rushmore resume here. We're come on now. They're hurting my agenda.
Yeah.
This is a player that is if she has always kind of I think the switch is kind of starting to flip on the offensive end for her. I think we're kind of actively seeing that. And there's this, I can't wrap my head around it. It's hard to even kind of process the words for my genuine shock that she was on this team. I figured she would be first off the board type. I genuinely,
right. If we were reverting back to all-star formats of years past, where we get two captains and everyone's choosing 11 players to fill out their rosters, there's no doubt in my mind that Ezzy's in somebody's five. You know what I mean?
No, near the top. Come on. What are we doing here? That was for me far and away. There's several players on this list you could take off in my eyes for Ezzy, and not even that necessarily some of them don't deserve to be all-stars. It's just that Ezzy has been at that higher level. There is, like I said, I can't fathom.
We're talking about a player who, when it's all said and done this season, will likely be on an all WNBA team.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd be interested in knowing how many all WNBA players haven't been on all-star teams. I don't know. I don't know how there could be several. I don't know. But that would be something I need to look into. Because what are we doing here? What are we doing here? For me, that's easily the biggest snub. I know a lot of people. I saw talking about Kennedy, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, I also think another player who should be on this list. Listen, I understand that her role has changed in the last, week or so, and now being a starter for the Chicago Sky, but she was the best player off the bench in the league by a wide margin prior to that. And then she hasn't missed a beat being inserted into the Chicago starting lineup. Pound for pound, one of the most exciting guards to watch in this league. Obviously, I'm hoping that the little dust up that she had with Caitlin didn't impact this whatsoever.
Yeah,
and it also would have been nice to see them team up too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Caitlin's been complimentary of her, right?
Yeah.
Caitlin watches, she knows the kind of player that Kennedy is, and so she absolutely should have been an all-star as well. And she deserves it after everything that she's kind of been through in this league too, right?
It would have been a really dope way to not cap off the season. There's obviously much more to go, but the growth that we've seen from her being off rosters,
growth, right? Yeah, to reward the growth. And I don't know. Maybe Chicago didn't campaign hard enough. I see some people saying Dejanay.
Yeah, that was the other name that I had seen probably the most, because I put a little tweet out asking how people were feeling, and Kennedy and Dejanay were the two that I had the most.
I feel like Kennedy, her consistency night in, night out as a reliable perimeter scorer for Chicago, should be rewarded. Period.
Yeah. No, I'm complete agreement. I am pretty well shot. Ezzy's still the top of the top for me, snub wise, but Kennedy is up there for me too. I know. I also saw several Benaja mentions as well for a potential all-star snub.
Missed a couple games, missed some games with the knee stuff. And again, at most teams have played 20 games so far. So missing kind of matters a lot, right? They only play 40 games in the WNBA.
Right, for sure.
So, I mean, Nneka's also missed a few games. And Nneka getting on probably impacts Ezzy's ability to make the team. And even with that, I do think Ezzy should have made it over Nneka as well.
I do too.
Dejanay, listen, she's had some massive matchups against Caitlin Clark. But outside of that, she's just been a very stable and solid contributor to the Connecticut Sun. I don't think that her all-star case is that strong.
Yeah, I would have been cool with it. Had she made it, I would have had no problem with it. But when I think of my what the hell meter compared to Ezzy or Kennedy, it's not nearly as high for Dejanay. But I would have been cool with it had she made it, especially kind of to your point. Maybe an Aliyah Gray doesn't make it, and you have Dejanay on there. I wouldn't have been too hurt by that. That would that wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I think the other thing that I had seen, just thinking of the reaction that I had kind of seen just from the general Twitter public of W Twitter, was that the Fever had 3 All-Stars.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No shade. Again, we
were just complimenting you.
Yeah,
it's the growth
for sure,
not the season. Not the season.
Not over Kennedy Carter. No.
Yeah, I completely agree. Dejanay would have been another one there. Where it's okay.
The Fever being at 9 and having 3 All-Stars
is pretty wicked. Yeah. There's and Kelsey does feel like the odd one out for me on that one. And even though Aliyah also started the season slower, so honestly, had it just been Caitlin on this list, I would have been okay with that. I would. I
think Aliyah Boston was always going to get in because of votes.
Right.
Base, but and that's okay too. But not at the expense of people whose case was just stamped. You know?
Yeah. No, that was what was kind of shocking to me. Immediately, that's where my eyes jumped to first. Was oh damn, Kelsey Mitchell's on here. Where the hell is Ezzy? That was kind of my thought process of it all. Because a lot of these names are pretty we're familiar with All-Star games here. Obviously you have the 2 rookies, but I think Kayla McBride would probably be the most unfamiliar name to kind of the All-Star scene. Obviously Kelsey was just her first time All-Star last year. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get the voting. I know we had we had a little bit a transparent, not about who voted what, but like the rankings of the voting. So I hope that we get that. But there's no way that Ezzy Maverick is on All-Star. I can't get over it.
Listen, she got her first tech this season in her, brief but very impactful career for the Seattle Storm. I don't know. Maybe she's got to get this mean streak to
listen. It's like the Asia fourth place vote. I need this. Like, you want to talk about flipping the switch on offense? I need this. Yeah. This is what is. Listen, hold on. This is the moment. What are you
prepared to do about it?
This is the moment. That Ezzy Mabagor helps my agenda come true. That is what I'm ready to see. But I know we'll both be in. Are you gonna be in Phoenix?
I don't think so.
Damn. Well, I'll be in Phoenix, so we'll have some boots on the ground coverage for All-Star. So I know we'll definitely be there, and we'll have some stuff posted on the Twitter and everything, so you guys can all find that there on the Substack, on the YouTube.
Substack is going crazy right
now. Listen, hey, I need everyone to
tap in. You like written coverage on the WNBA women's basketball history. Andrew is working on some incredible stuff right now that you're going to want to read over and over again, talk about and share with anyone you also know who's a women's basketball enthusiast. What's your guys' starting lineup for Team WNBA?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a great question, Timothy.
So, like, are we based on this season? Like, is that what we're, or like, are we like, what are we thinking here?
I don't know what Team USA starting five will be, but just pick your starting five right here.
Oh, damn. Okay. I mean, Caitlin's the only point guard.
Yeah. Okay. Caitlin starting. Yeah. Give me Caitlin. If I'm going off of this season alone and like how well they played, give me Caitlin, give me De'Erica, give me Dewana.
Yeah, I'm with you so far. Yeah.
Give me Angel. Quit fucking playing.
I'm saying no. I literally we're right here with it. And then
and I mean, I guess give me McBride as the shooter. She's shooting 50% from three.
Yeah, it might
Angel
be
kicking out to her on offensive rebounds for threes. Like, I mean, it's an all-star game. It's not how they would typically play, but
right. Yeah. Right.
Well, yeah, that's the starting five I would want to see from Team WNBA.
Nah, that's pretty. Like, I mean, because like if we're going like at their like, what John Qual am I getting? Like, like I mean, obviously, like if you're drafted for All-Star, it's different than a regular game. But yeah, that starting lineup, honestly, like I'm right here with you, like that. So it's so Caitlin, Angel, Bonner, Hamby, McBride.
Yeah,
that's a no cap space All-Star starting lineup. There we go. I'm assuming everyone's hitting. Listen, I need Caitlin and Kayla to be on. Don't play with me.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how competitive that game is. Actually, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'd want to beat Team USA.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
listen, that would have been fun to have Kennedy back there just to go do it again. Go beat Team USA again.
Yeah,
she's at A&M.
Experience, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, I don't know. Every year something happens where some alternates end up getting named and stuff like that. So, but if I were Kennedy and Ezzy, I'd deny the invitation and go.
Yeah, don't play with me like that.
Go on a vacation during All-Star break.
Come on.
I mean, Ezzy's already.
I'm about to say Ezzy's going to be on her way.
So join Team Australia a little early or something, and Kennedy, woosah, get it, so you can finish out the season strong for the Chicago Sky because they're going to need you.
There you go. All right, y'all. That was talking All-Star. That was talking today. Listen, I genuinely speaking, we have a good month playing for y'all here on No Cap Space for July. We got some dope interviews lined up. If you haven't checked out our interview with Sanaya Rivers that just dropped this morning, that was fantastic. Like, that was one of my favorite interviews that we've been able to do. Check that out. I know tomorrow on Substack, the Legendarium, the first piece of Legendarium is dropping, where our guy Andrew has been deep diving, turning stones that have never been unturned within women's basketball to tell the stories of decades and decades worth of women's basketball history. And I'm like, this is not an exaggeration. Like he's been in the lab, and I'm very excited for y'all to see that. That'll be on the Substack tomorrow. And yeah, you can find all that in the link below. So make sure you're subscribed here so you don't miss on any notifications when we go live. We're gonna have some all-star coverage on deck on All-Star on here on YouTube, Substack, Twitter, across the board. Find all the links down below, and we'll see you next time.